Smackdown, or was I watching NXT tonight? Could this be the best Smackdown episode ever? Since why am I getting a phone call right now? But I would say, is this the best Smackdown episode ever in the Fox era? I'm not gonna say all year, but ever since they've debuted on Fox, isn't this the most interesting episode we've seen tonight on SmackDown? 9 times out of 10, yes. Now, to the situation you all do not know, since, Crown Jewel yesterday, or Blood Money, go check out my review right now with Blood Money for a Crown Jewel review that is posted online. We all know about the story about the travel issues that the WWE crew is somewhat still stuck in Saudi Arabia. By the time SmackDown is ended, though, I believe they have arrived back in the States. I think I looked on Twitter and Kofi said they were back in the States and everything. But, the problem is that they got on a plane, they were ready to go, it was about 175, wrestlers, crew members, everything. They were all ready to come back, but there were malfunction issues on the plane. They had to sit in the tarmac for about 6 hours, and they were not going to make back tonight's show in Buffalo, New York tonight. They just weren't going to make it. So, pretty much this was an emergency show in a way. And they were working with a thin roster tonight. And with a lot of, the crew, wrestlers, pretty much most of the entire SmackDown roster that went to Saudi Arabia, they were not going to be able to make it back for tonight's show. So we move into plan B for tonight. And this was an emergency show. We need bodies on the show. And what are we going to get with SmackDown, huh? We got a bit of a different show, but first off, before all that stuff happened, number one, welcome to my review. Wake up, it's the first of the month, so get up. Hope you all enjoyed a very great Halloween. Like I said, check out my Blood Money 4 review. I had a fun night for Halloween yesterday, because I like Halloween. And, come on, you saw my buddy Grim there. But moving on into this review of SmackDown, we kicked it off with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, who came out there, which probably they were one of the smartest people. They were able to make it back early because, I've said it before, like I said yesterday, the reason why they had that match out there first with both, with both Brock and Cain Velasquez, because Brock wanted to get over with it and get back on his plane and get the fuck back to the States, because he did not want to be stuck over there, and I'm sure he's glad he got on an early flight. He has his own jet, by the way, but he got on an early flight and he was back, so by the time they got back, I guess they had to head there immediately to SmackDown. But since, Brock and Paul were probably the only ones that really made it here tonight. And I believe Vince McMahon, too. I don't know how true those rumors are. And I'm going to get a little of that later on in the show of who was actually booking the show tonight. In my opinion of it, though. But there were rumors that Vince was either A, still stuck with everybody over there in Saudi Arabia, or B, he was at least got on the plane first and he made it back before everyone else. But I'll get into that later. Of course, Paul Heyman was there, pretty much talking about SmackDown, and he wanted to describe his client's mood, that he's very, very pissed off tonight, pretty much, as he puts it. Of course, Brock mostly stood there. I like how people said Brock looked either bored or tired, but he just got off a plane for God's sake, so I think anybody would be tired after an 18-hour flight. Pretty much they played the entire, Velasquez and Brock match, which they said was the footage. Might as well just play the whole thing. The match was 2 freaking minutes, and SmackDown has to, pretty much, kill time tonight in a way, because you're working with a thin roster here. So we got to pass through as much time as possible. But, yeah, might as well just play the whole match, because, the match sucked anyways, and they had to make you watch it again, but that's all the footage you could really take from it, because it honestly wasn't much of a match regardless. But, as Paul talked about how Brock, how Brock conquered, Cain Velasquez for, almost 9 years ago and stuff, after that scar he gave him on his face, and that, he was spiritually orgasmic, he said about Brock Lesnar, which I thought that was a little bit strange, as he was relishing in the victory over Cain Velasquez. But then he says, we have a real problem here, people. Okay, and that is Rey Mysterio. They showed Rey beating him with the chair, and they said they have a problem with Mysterio, and they're going to take care of it. But pretty much says Vince McMahon said that he couldn't give Brock a match with Mysterio because they are two different shows. Which is true, and at least they're really trying to make this brand split thing look serious and not just have anyone pop up on any one show for literally no reason, like it's a wild card rule. So I'll give them that. And they're really trying to stay true to this brand split thing. But Heyman says if, he can't come to SmackDown, even though, it's funny, Rey Mysterio was on SmackDown last week, so why can't he come now? I don't know. But, since he can't come there, then we're going to go to Raw and look for Mysterio. And, if anyone in the company has a problem with it, what are you going to do about it? You're going to fine me? You're going to fine Lesnar? You're going to suspend him, sue him, whatever, litigation? Listen, my people perfected litigation. I guess Jewish if he's going with that. And we'll sue WWE right back, okay? And just get rid of the formality. And you know what? We're going to quit SmackDown. And we're going to show up on Monday Night Raw and hunt for Rey Mysterio. He spoke in Spanish. I guess he called him a cabron, I believe. And they were going to come after him. But pretty much as Brock and Paul were leaving, next thing you know, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, DX are right there smiling. And then we're going to get, and that was the first clue of what was going to happen tonight and who was most likely taking over this show. Takeover, if you get what I mean. Now, I will say something about the whole Brock going to Raw thing is this. Now, I do believe it's strange, like I said in the Crown Jewel review yesterday, how are you going to make this whole, because Brock is the champion on SmackDown, right? But then you put the belt on Wyatt, who is also on SmackDown, but the belt is on Raw. Now, are you just switching them over? Honestly, I don't really want to see Brock back on Raw again. I really don't, but maybe it's a temporary thing. I don't know, because Wyatt there, he's the champion on here, but I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I didn't think it made sense yesterday. I know people wanted Bray Wyatt to win in general, but still, my whole thing with it was that the guy's a SmackDown wrestler winning a Raw title. Makes no sense. So what, you're going to have two champions on SmackDown now, or you just sending Brock to Raw? I don't know. And they says, oh, it's the USA Network. It's the Fox Network. They make the shots. So, yeah, he just up and left SmackDown and went to Raw. It doesn't make any type of sense, but I guess we'll see what happens Monday. But as I said, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were there. And first off, we kicked it with Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the women's title. Not a bad match and everything, but come on, I'm sure you knew who was going to win this match. First off, let me say that there was some commentary changes since Michael Cole and Corey Graves are still stuck over there on, in Saudi Arabia. They pretty much had Tom Phillips, Aiden English for the time being, and Renee Young on commentary. I will say this one thing about Renee Young. It's glad that she wasn't at least arguing with, Corey Graves again, because that would have made her commentary even worse, if you ask me. I'm not getting into the whole Renee Young thing with commentary. You've heard what I've had to say. But, yes, Phillips and English were there, too. Bayley went against Nikki Cross. Sasha was out there with her. I figured who was going to win. Of course, Sasha kept back involved in the match several times. Nikki Cross kept taking her out. But when Nikki Cross pretty much went to the top rope, Sasha pushed her off. And Bayley did this, she slammed Cross's face into the mat. No Bayley to belly. And pretty much pinned her. But then after that, the invasion begins, folks. The invasion begins. NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler shows up and pretty much knocks Sasha into the ring post. Goes in, starts kicking Bayley. People start to chant NXT. And at least people know what NXT is. Well, come on, it's on TV, so they better know what NXT is. And she pretty much started beating up Bayley. Threw her jacket on, but she put it back. She took her jacket off, picked it up, but she had to kick Bayley one more time and then put it on before she left the ring. So next thing you know, I guess this is going to be the, this was the first shot, I guess, okay? And I'm sure there are two situations on this you could either go with. A, SmackDown already has a thin roster tonight. So what do we need? We need more bodies. What do? Bring NXT in. Number 2, NXT is part of Survivor Series this year. So what do we got to start doing? The build-up begins. The invasion begins. I'm sure you know how this is going to go with the other past Survivor Series with Raw versus SmackDown invasions. Difference is NXT is involved this year. Some people may say it's like when ECW was around in 2008 and they had that triple threat thing going on. Think of it that again, except NXT is involved this time. Okay, they're now part of it. But yeah, Baszler, people were excited and happy to see Baszler, and it was a good segment. Now, one thing I didn't understand was they took Aiden English off commentary. I know he's on 205, but I didn't mind him out there. They put him out there with Pat McAfee, and listen, man, let me just say this about Pat McAfee. This wasn't really much of an upgrade putting him out there. He was just there to suck NXT's dick all night. That's all he was there to do, was just talk about how great NXT was and be obnoxious. I would have kept English out there, personally. I think he was good. I don't know why they put Pat McAfee out there. I don't think the guy's that good, in my opinion, but he was just there to just pretty much put over NXT and be obnoxious as much as possible. Next thing you know, they interviewed Sami Zayn, which, you know, he talked about how the roster isn't here right now. And, you know, NXT is over here to take advantage of SmackDown since SmackDown roster is not around. And as he was talking, he looked off camera. Who shows up? Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. Sami Zayn was sucking up to him, saying, you know, I was once the heart and soul of NXT. Okay, I really was. And, you know, I'm still representing NXT, okay? I'm representing them right now. I got my shirt on, too. He took the jacket off, but he just had a black shirt on. He says, you know what? I left my shirt in the car. I'm going to come right back. Pretty much Riddle felt like, oh, no, come on, we'll come with you. You know, they don't got shirts of my size of Keith Lee. Yeah, Keith Lee need that XL, that double XL shirt. He need that double XL shirt, but they kept following Sami Zayn. He ended up running in a way that's like a comedy segment. He ran to the ring. He got surrounded by both of them. Next thing you know, fans chanted, bro. He tried to take a swing at one of them, but Riddle hit a knee to the head, and then the bro Derek on him. And then Keith Lee did a moonsault, and they played both of their theme songs then. So, yes, the NXT invasion continues. Fans chanted, bro. So there you go. Next, Miz TV was about to happen. He was supposed to have Bray Wyatt, but I guess they were getting someone else then. Of course, McAfee had that for the brand shirt, kept trying to get that over. Who did they bring in? Since, you know, it's been a weird 24 hours. Since Wyatt could not be here, and the fans were pretty pissed about that, and they couldn't get the Fiend. Tommaso Ciampa came out. Yeah, good reaction out there, I'll say that. Tommaso Ciampa says, this is supposed to be must-see TV, right? Because he pretty much says he's must-see TV. And, you know, you're supposed to be the most-see superstar all WWE, and right? But he says, I happen to be the greatest sports entertainer of all. I hate when they say sports entertainer, but I guess it works for Ciampa, of all time. And, you know, listen, he told me, you got like the world revolves around you, right? And like you sit at the top of the food chain. And this is what's wrong with WWE. It's guys like you that's what's wrong with it. You just play the part of an actor. I am the part of a wrestler, you know, WWE superstar pretty much. And because remember it says you act, you're not pretty much nothing on the main roster or on SmackDown. I'm out here breaking my neck on NXT, and this is what it's going on with guys like you. Miz pretty much says, I've heard that for years, okay? Listen, if I've heard guys like you say this all the time. You want to call me out and you want to call me an actor, huh? Listen, and if I've been an actor for 15 years, I deserve an Oscar, okay? I thought it was a good promo by Miz and Ciampa, to be honest. Ciampa, of course, going at Miz, and even Miz kind of coming back with his own rebuttal at Ciampa. So I thought this was pretty good. It ended up being a match with them. It was an okay match, I will say that. Tommaso Ciampa end up winning with the fairy tale ending. So it was good. I kind of expected them to go over anyways, but it's Miz, okay? But at least Ciampa went over clean. Daniel Bryan, who was walking backstage, which he had an announcement, I guess, tonight, but, you know, he didn't go to the, you know, blood money thing. Triple H and Shawn Michaels there. DX. Bryan says, why are you here? And he says, you know what? Survivor Series is around. they were calling us out. We felt like we were called out, so now we're here for a fight. And Bryan says, you know what, I'll fight you tonight right now. Triple H and Bryan had stared at him. Fans were chanting yes from the arena, but it didn't happen. He says, you know what, I left my gear at home. And then and everything. Shawn Michaels pretty much was taking off his jacket. I'm like, oh shit, Shawn about to go against Daniel Bryan. I want to see that. But pretty much Triple H says, put your coat back on. And Shawn's like, it's pretty cold here. I thought it was pretty funny. Like, Shawn's teasing, he's going to wrestle, but he's like, hey man, it's really cold in here, okay? So I'm gonna put my jacket back on. But pretty much Triple H summoned the NXT champion Adam Cole in. Fans pop for it. He says, you know, Bryan says, how about we do this tonight? All right, you want to fight tonight? Put the NXT title on the line. And Triple H says, you know what? That works for me. And if it works for you, we'll do it. NXT title on the line. I'm sure people looking at this as a dream match, as some would say. Two former Ring of Honor guys are main event Smackdown for the NXT championship. I'm not getting into Ring of Honor right now because they got enough problems going on as it is already, as I've heard today. But it is a big moment for that. Now, I'm sure you all expected what was going to happen in the end, but we'll get to that when the match happens. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were out there for a match. Carmella's music played. No one ever came out. Bianca Belair was beating the hell out of both Dana Brooke and Carmella, which I swear Carmella, like, she was just sitting there and thinking. She even looked beat up. She just sat there like she was thinking with her head right there. I'm sure nobody wanted to see this match anyways. Bianca was just beating the shit out of them. Threw Dana Brooke around, picked up Carmella, threw her somewhere behind the production crates, and wiped her hands and walked away from that. Next thing you know, Tegan Nox and Rhea Ripley came out, and even though I feel like this doesn't make sense, but they are the same team for War Games, and I'm going to get a little to this whole team thing in the end. He says, why don't you face us? This match, of course, once again, NXT, of course, going over. I don't know if they were trying to make NXT look like heels out there. There were some fans that cheered, but some, probably booed in a way, too, and everything. Pretty much, I did like, the other thing was funny when Knox threw, not Renee Young, but threw, what's the girl's name? Deville into an announce table. I swear, like, Deville just jumped, like she just jumped over it. But, Rhea Ripley, she ended up hitting that cloverleaf on, on Mandy Rose for the submission, getting the win. Next thing you know, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were back out there, pretty much, slapping hands with fans. But Stephanie McMahon came out because she has to do her women pandering thing as usual, which I felt this was a waste of time. I don't even know why they played this, alright? Because of the women having the first ever match in Saudi Arabia and putting over the women's evolution in WrestleMania. That felt like a waste of time. Listen, I'm not going to get into the whole Lacey Evans and Natalya thing. I said what I had to say about it yesterday. I'm not going to hate on it all the way. Listen, I know nobody didn't want to see the match in general, but I think it did. I think that match really did mean a lot to them. And like the women and the girls, they were really excited in that match. If you want to hear more of it, go look at my review, but I'm not going to shun that all the way because, in a way, it was a great moment for them. I know how backwards that country is, but it meant a lot to them, okay? It meant a lot to them. But we were ready for the main event. Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan for the NXT Championship. This was a very good match. A very great main event, just in general, okay? Especially with the NXT title on the line. Adam Cole, Bebe fans chanted. You know, the Bebe thing when he comes out. And they got a lot of time out there. 20 minutes they got, really. And this was great. Now, Adam Cole came out there with Roderick Strong. There wasn't all the Undisputed Era there. Just only two of them. But Cole sent them back to the back. Bryan was going in on him, which they were on both of these guys' side. But like the fans were a little bit pro Daniel Bryan out there, really. He pretty much, was throwing the kicks in. I did like when he did those suicide dives. At least Triple H and Shawn was smart enough to get out of the way and stand like stooges sitting right there. Because Triple H, he was frustrated throughout half the match when Daniel had got the LeBell lock in, almost about to win. But pretty much Bryan had got another kick to Cole in. Cole came back with a super kick. He hit the Panama Sunrise. Last shot for the win. Still retaining the NXT Championship. A clean win over Daniel Bryan. No interference, no screwy stuff, a clean win. But then next thing you know, half of the NXT roster came out. Most of the people you saw tonight, I saw Shane Strickland out there, Leo Rush. I don't know what the Cruiserweight's a part of. I think it was that Mendoza dude, Dakota Kai, of course, Baszler and Strong and others were back out there. Lee, Riddle, just half of the NXT roster, not all of them, but some of the NXT roster. Ripley, all they could really, who they could grab at the time. But Triple H, since he is the captain, and him, DX is leading the charge, if you want to go with that, him and Shawn. He says you wanted an army, we built an army. You look to your blood, you look to your family. I swear he was about to say you look towards the clique, but it's not like years ago. But he said this is our army, this is our fight, this is our ring. And at Survivor Series, you would know what we're getting into. We just fired the first shot, okay? Raw, SmackDown, let's see what you got. Just remember one thing, we are NXT. And, fans chanted NXT. Everyone celebrated. Triple H was pretty much, like kind of putting his arms around Cole and Baszler since they are the champions and stuff. So NXT getting the first shot. Now, I will say this about the entire show in general, and I can tell you how a lot of this is going to go. If it's I don't know who was running this show tonight. I don't know if it was Triple H. I don't know if it was Vince McMahon. But if there's one thing I will say about with WWE is this. Every time when it comes to situations where the show is out of control and it's not in their control, in case some giant weather accident happens or, some flight issues or stuff like this tonight with, most of the SmackDown roster being left in Saudi Arabia, I'll give Vince and them one thing. And I know it's going to be crazy, and just hear me out on this, giving Vince one thing, though. They work better under pressure. And that is kind of true. I heard someone say that tonight. Vince McMahon works better when he's under an emergency show like this. So he works better under pressure. It was an emergency show. In a way, it was like a last minute thing. I don't know if the NXT thing was already planned, but they say he works better. He works better like this, and that's what's getting over, pretty much. Okay, that's why this show was very, very good tonight. So he may work better in these type of situations and stuff. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who's really booking the show. I'm just going by what I read. Vince made it back to this. They say he made it back to the States. So if he did run the show, it worked great under pressure, yeah. But then again, it said why was he gonna work after he was on an 18-hour flight? People forget this guy is a workaholic, so he will keep going. But I'm just saying no. Now, like I said, other than the show, in a way, being the last minute, and it ended up being great, because I've seen fans praise it throughout most of the night in general. Some a little bit were reaching, but it was still overall like I say, I think it was the best show since this whole Fox era has started. And I don't know what the ratings are going to look like, but we'll see from that. But I will say one thing about the whole Survivor Series. I know people said this every year before when it comes to this. Because I can tell you how this is going to go all the way in Survivor Series. NXT looked strong tonight. NXT was going to go over big time tonight, okay? They laid out the first shot. And I expected that. And don't be surprised if they do it on Raw. And don't be surprised if Raw or SmackDown start invading NXT by next Wednesday. Because we have to do this triple threat war thing pretty much now. Now, when Survivor Series comes, do not be surprised, and I'm telling you, and you can come back to this video and watch if you want. Do not be surprised if they try to make NXT look really bad at Survivor Series and they start losing a lot of those matches in this whole triple war thing. And I'm going to tell you why. Remember what happened last year with Raw and SmackDown? They made SmackDown look like a bunch of J-Brones and everything, and they had Raw just mop the freaking floor with them. I'm just saying, I may be jumping to conclusions, but just remember that statement. So, yes, NXT did look strong tonight. Very, very strong. But maybe a different outcome when Survivor Series comes. And I'm sure, and I know people know that too, because I've seen some photos already, because what are they going to do? They say, they do a triple threat title match. I'm not saying the belt's on the line, but if they put Brock versus Bray Wyatt versus Adam Cole at Survivor Series in some triple threat match, who do you think is taking the pinfall? I'm sorry, but I like Adam Cole, but he may be taking the L if that match is true. Now, for the other matches, I don't know, because some saying AJ Nakamura and Strong, which, that could be really great. Baszler, Bayley, and Becky. But I believe they're somewhat in their own kind of feuds right now, in a way, too. Because I know some people don't like this about Survivor Series when it comes every year. It's like, even with NXT, too, it's like that everyone must automatically drop their feuds right now, because NXT's got to work double duty those both nice Survivor Series weekend, okay? You got NXT TakeOver War Games Saturday, and then next night on Sunday, you have Survivor Series, which NXT is also involved again, okay? So they got to work double duty. So let me just say that too. But trying to remember what else I'm gonna say. But yes, that's what I can really see coming in this. I don't know how many matches gonna be or where this is gonna go, but as I was saying before, it's that everyone must drop their feuds now to show solidarity with each other. And they've done that with Raw and SmackDown too. We've seen this before, even a couple years ago when SmackDown invaded Raw and beat the living crap out of them and stuff. It's that everyone must drop their feud, and they gotta be in this war thing right now. So like everyone's feud is mostly meaningless, and it's just Raw versus SmackDown, and they have to do that until the month of November is over, okay? But tonight, though, once again, this is the same thing. People that are in the ring right now, some of them are in with feuds with each other. But tonight, they must all show solidarity. Triple H and I guess Shawn too are the captains of this whole thing. They're running the thing because in a way, they're the kind of like, I wouldn't say they're the GMs, but Triple H basically runs NXT and stuff with Shawn Michaels, and I don't know who's leading the charge for Raw and SmackDown, but there will be time for that when it comes, though. But like I said, expect them to probably invade Raw Monday. Expect them to probably expect SmackDown or Raw to invade NXT by next Wednesday. We're going to see a lot of invasions happen in these next few weeks, also with the building Survivor Series and War Games. But I just think it's funny, though, like you see in the end, you got all the NXT slapping hands with each other. Ciampa, who just challenged the Undisputed Era and them all to a War Games match, but we got to show solidarity. Bianca Belair fighting Rhea Ripley and them at the War Games women's match. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? But like I said, they all got to drop the feud. But overall, this was a very great episode of SmackDown, or NXT if you want to say that. But the NXT invasion of SmackDown, the first shot, the build to Survivor Series is now beginning. So we're past Blood Money 4. We're past the build with that. And like people said before, we knew it was going to be bad going to Blood Money and everything. But now the real work begins. We can build the Survivor Series. And right now, this was a great thing. The first thing was great, and it started off the great shot. The first shot was made at NXT. The bullets are flying, so we will see where this goes. This may have been a show from a last-minute thing due to, travel issues, and, it's great that everyone made it back safely off the plane, and they are back in America from Saudi Arabia and stuff. And, it was a last-minute decision. But like I said before, WWE works better in these last-minute shows. But don't be surprised if we go back to Monday, crapping all over this show again. Or, just the rest of the shows next week with SmackDown also. So we got a great one tonight in this box here. Like I said, this was the best episode, in my opinion, as of right now, so far, in the Fox era of this show, okay, of SmackDown. But other than that, we will see what happens next. I don't know if they did a WWE backstage thing tonight. Did they do a WWE backstage thing tonight? I don't think. No, I think that was just only for FS1 from last week. And to be honest, I will say one thing about FS1 thing with the backstage before I end this review, though. And I read this today. I just think it's funny that WWE's wasting their money on Ryan Satin. Fuck Ryan Satin. What a low-life piece of shit that guy is, okay? I can see why mostly everybody in the business hates this guy, but hey, man, he must have been sucking their dicks really well to land a job over there. Wasn't he the guy that made up the whole Sasha thing anyways back at WrestleMania and stuff? But they hired him now. Wasn't that the whole case, if I'm not mistaken? Correct me if I'm wrong with that. And I could say many stories about him, too, going against several wrestlers or podcasts and that. But like I said, I just think it's funny that they hired that sack of shit to WWE in general. But they like yes men like him that'll suck their dicks and everything. But, other than that, we are done with this SmackDown review. I'm out of here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of SmackDown tonight. Very great show. Check out any other reviews. It's been a very busy week in wrestling. I really believe it has. And there's more to come with that. Because, come on, you've had Raw, you've had Impact, you've had AEW, you've had NXT, you had Blood Money 4 Crown Jewel, if you watched that show, and you had SmackDown tonight. So, honestly, a full week of wrestling. And that goes for any other show you watch, either if it's New Japan or Ring of Honor and that. wrestling's just, it's like Rob Van Dam said the other night in Impact. Wrestling's like 6 to 7 days a week, okay? So that's basically what it is. But I'm out of here. Comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. Check out any other past reviews, like I said, and check out my Blood Money 4 review also. But I am out of here. I will see you guys later. You know, it's me, HWD, coming with the news and reviews. You know what I am? You know what I do? Going down. This is Smackdown. As you can see, we just laid the first shot tonight, and that was NXT. I'm out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out. Sorry, I'm not trying to mess up the video.